substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066. And the Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency. Visit energy.gov.ky or follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Wednesday, the 5th day of April 2023, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We do hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please, please, please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. That includes using your indicators when negotiating a roundabout, using your indicators when you are turning off from one street to the other, and also doing it with sufficient time so that the drivers behind you will know exactly what you do. Not only the ones behind you, but the ones ahead of you as well, especially if you're making a turn across a traffic lane as well. And remember that if you observe the rules of the road, then the life you save may just be your own. While talking about the traffic in the Cayman Islands, I continue to think about some of the solutions that we can have to our traffic issues. And one of the questions that I have, those professional driving schools that we have out there, as well as, other persons who teach others to drive. My question is, are we teaching them how to pass the driver's test, the road test, or are we teaching them how to drive and to properly operate a vehicle on the roads of the Cayman Islands? Because the test itself is only for a short period of time. The person who's administering the test can only put you through a number of scenarios. So when a person is teaching you to drive, they should really be teaching you not about how to pass the road test, but how to get out there and to be safe and to ensure that the drivers and all of the other road users around you are safe as well. But remember that if you first know the rules of the road, and then if you observe the rules of the road, the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you've celebrated one over the past few days, and to remind you that the For the Record birthday shout-out proudly brought to you by life insurance agent Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, whose advice to you is to make the right decision for your family's future today. And we know that Miss Joellen Ray Smith is celebrating her birthday today, and we want to wish her a happy birthday. If you know someone who's celebrating a birthday, then please let us have that information. You can send it to us on our WhatsApp number, 925-3261. Let's see if we have Anyone else? Yes, today's birthday. Ben Mead is celebrating a birthday today, and yesterday, Nicosia Lawson celebrated a birthday, as well as Pierre Connolly celebrated a birthday yesterday. So belated happy birthday to Pierre Connolly, Nicosia Lawson, and happy birthday today to Ben Mead, as well as Miss Joellen. Again, to remind you that today's For the Record birthday shout-outs proudly brought to you by life insurance agent Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, whose advice to use to make the right decision for your family's future today. Also, we have Sasha Lee Thomas of Cayman Brack is celebrating her birthday today. So Sasha Lee Thomas, we want to wish you a happy birthday today as well. For those of you who have lost loved ones, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you as well. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. The radio voice of Silver Fox, Mr. Paula Cal, waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. Follow us on YouTube by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. And don't forget, we are also on Facebook as well. So before I introduce my guest this morning, I want to share with you the holiday message issued by the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service for the Easter holiday message. And it reads, as we approach the Easter weekend, the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service would like to remind the public of some steps they can take to have a safe and enjoyable weekend while reducing their chances of becoming a victim of crime. During the holiday period, many residents across the Cayman Islands will engage in camping activities or will be traveling overseas. Because of this, incidents of burglaries usually increase during this time of the year, as burglars may take advantage of homes while they are vacant. With this in mind, we are advising the public to consider the tips below and to implement as many as possible before leaving your homes. Before leaving to travel or go camping, make an inventory of your valuables, including recording serial numbers of your electronics and taking pictures of your jewelry and storing them on your phone and in your email as a backup. Be sure to properly lock and secure your premises before going camping or traveling. Be sure to leave lights on inside and outside the property. If you have light timers, it is best to have these set for the period of time that you will be away. Consider storing valuable items within interior rooms in the residence and locking these doors. This will make it harder for would-be thieves to get access to your valuable possessions. Clear any shrubbery, tools, and other such items from your yard so as not to provide burglars with tools they can use to gain entry or conceal themselves from detection. If you have neighbors who will not be camping or traveling, consider asking them to keep an eye on your property for you. Alternatively, have someone you trust check your property while you're away and unable to do so yourself. Consider leaving the campsite occasionally and making checks on your property. If you have windows and door shutters, put those up while you are away. Consider implementing alarms and camera systems if you are able, especially those that can be monitored from your mobile phones and alert you immediately. While you're at the campsite, there are also a few tips for you to consider. Be sure to secure your belongings when camping. Remain vigilant of your valuables at all times. Park vehicles in well-lit and monitored areas and check on your vehicles regularly. Try not to leave valuables in your vehicles, especially not where they can be seen from the outside. As camping does come with some risk, pay very close attention to children for their safety, especially around fires and in the water. Ensure young children wear proper flotation devices and are under constant adult supervision. Try to ensure there are persons within your campsite who are up to date with CPR/first aid training and that there is a first aid kit on site. Use the buddy system and ensure that someone knows where you are at all times. While camping, it is also important to follow all relevant laws and not to trespass on private property. However, owners of waterfront property should also remember that their beachside property boundaries do not extend past the high water mark and that the public is permitted to access the beach up to that point in accordance with the Land Survey Regulations 2018 revision, Section 28, and the Development and Planning Regulations 2022 revision, Section 8, subsection 10. Ensure that you keep your mobile phones charged and in good condition at all times so that in the event of an emergency, you are able to call for help. Identify a responsible person or persons at each campsite to take the lead on any incidents that may occur. Any animals taken to the campsite must be properly tethered so as not to pose a risk or annoyance to others. Ensure that your campsites are acting in accordance with the Towns and Communities Act. These include no loud music or noises which may cause a nuisance to homeowners and other members of the public. Ensure that you obey the national conservation laws, observing seasonal marine life closures and limits. Ensure that you obey the Port Authority law as it relates to boating, especially near the shores and campsites where persons may be in the water. Remember that littering is against the law. Ensure that you clear up the campsite and beaches before leaving your designated areas. I will have to pause at this point in time because we have to go to a commercial break. This is pretty long. I'll try to share the rest with you. And we should take note that probably the criminals may be listening too, so they may have gotten all of the tips that the police have put out there, but at least if it doesn't put you ahead of the criminals, it put you equal with them. And if you have any innovative ideas of your own, please implement them as well. Folks, we have to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the historical vignette series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Alexander Selvin Eden, 1888 through 1985. Alexander Selvin Eden was a dedicated family man. He and his wife, Sarah Leonie Nee West, had 7 children, and their father made sure that they had the best education available. He loved to work the land and also raised livestock, providing steady employment for others. As a young man, he worked overseas on the construction of the Florida East Coast Railway, returning home after World War I. His major contribution was filling the void in transportation of goods and passengers between Georgetown and Bordentown, which he did with a horse-drawn carriage for 35 years in all kinds of conditions. The government called upon him for many duties in his district, including police service, tax collection, operation of the cattle dip to control ticks, service as foreman of roadworks, and as pound keeper, keeping stray cattle until their owners reclaimed them, and the maintenance of telephone lines. He also served as a member of the Assembly of Justices and Vestry.
Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
The Rotary Central Easter Hunt and Story Time is Saturday, April 8th. Children are about to have a marvelous Easter experience. The Rotary Central Easter Hunt and Story Time at the Rotary Schoolhouse, the Queen Elizabeth II Botanical Park in Frank Sound. 11 a.m. through 12:30 p.m. This exciting Easter event includes Eric the Magician, sing along with Miss Aaliyah, face painting by Art for You Limited, refreshments, arts and crafts, prizes, goodie bags, lip smacking pizza, compliments of Domino's Pizza. This is a free Rotary event for children 10 years and under who must be accompanied by adults. Yes, Saturday, April 8th at the Botanical Park. Easter fun comes alive. Rotary, all the good you imagine.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay.
No one can stop me when I taste the beer.
Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
If it's time for new appliances, hop on into the LG Appliance Easter Sale now on at Brand Source Home Gallery. Save 15% off on LG appliances. Buy a 4-piece kitchen and you'll get a further 5% off. Yes, if you have older appliances that have seen better days, don't wait. Take advantage now of the LG Appliance Easter Sale. Hurry in. Sale ends Saturday, April 15th. Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Phone 623-5000.
I say you only die once, but you live every day. I'm Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, longtime supporter of Radio Cayman. Live your life, my friends. Happiness is in the journey, not the destination. When you're ready, I'm here to support you with the best financial decisions for your family's future. Cayman Insurance Center, protecting you and your family so you can take back your future. I'm Michael Webster, the sure way to protect your family. Call me when you're ready at 925-5433. Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets.
Think life insurance. Washing your clothes in cold water can save you 90% of your washing machine energy usage.
Using LED light bulbs uses 75% less energy than regular bulbs, and they last 25 times longer. Keeping your appliances and equipment cleaned and maintained regularly will reduce your monthly electricity bill.
The do-it-yourself energy audits on energy.gov.ky make it easy to find ways to save energy and money in your home or business.
Complete an energy audit of your home or business before 31st of May 2023 to be entered into a prize giveaway. Prizes include a $5,000 gift certificate to Home Gas and gift certificates to Cooling Pros, Foam Pros, Costyless, and Foster's.
To learn more, visit energy.gov.ky today and follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me again this morning none other than Dr. Steve McField. So Doc, the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, they have issued a very extensive message to the public in relation to camping or to traveling. I'm not sure whether or not the criminals out there are listening, and are reading as well what has been put out there. But at least, even if they are, it at least, puts us on equal footing, with them. They may know some of the precautions that are being taken and may try to get around those. One suggestion, and it isn't a cheap one, but at the same time it is helpful, is to install the advice about installing those cameras, having your door front cameras and other cameras. And not only does it help to keep you aware of what's happening, they also help the police in solving crimes as well, because if someone drives by or walks by, they're able to pick that up, as well. But we are facing so many challenges here in the Cayman Islands. We see the story about a bus driver picking up three individuals and then being robbed as well. Comments from you on that? You're in the courts, every day, and you're a social scientist as well. So,
Well, I saw that coming a long time ago, and I have been speaking about that in the media and in the courts, speaking about that. About this is the results of such a fast pace of development. This is what's happening when you bring a lot of people into your country, and they're not acclimatized to your culture and your way of life. And this is what happens. So, and then the other thing that comes to mind is that this happens out in the public in the traffic system. And I don't see too many policemen in the traffics. Too many traffic policemen. I was asking an ex-policeman the other day, what's the problem? And he didn't know what the problem was. And I said to him, well, don't they have enough men? He said, sure, they have enough men, and they have enough money too. But there's some weakness in the system. But the message that you have read coming from the commissioner, the criminals are also probably listening to you too, and are observing that, and are thinking about how to get around that too. But I think what we need to do, we need to have more visible presence of the police on the streets.
Yes.
That is very lacking. Even my neighborhood, I only see them when they drive through with their cars, and they drive through the subdivisions, and they drive down the streets, but I don't see anyone going from door to door. I don't think they know who lives in my subdivision.
So you don't have a community police?
I've never seen one. I've seen many years ago they had a community police. They had my nephew, Kim Evans, before he became the sergeant of arms at the legislature, at the parliament.
That's been quite a while ago.
That's been quite a while ago, and They had another gentleman too. He was descent from Belize, I think. He would come to the house and he would introduce himself.
Do you have a chat group, within yours?
I don't know if in a chat.
Because there are a lot of areas now have developed, their own chat groups and contact with the community police officer in the area and stuff like that as well. That some people find that extremely helpful. I find it helpful in my area.
I have never been invited to one. If there's one in my neighborhood, I have never been invited to one. The other thing is that the cameras are very good help to secure your property, but that's not the panacea for everything.
Yeah, I mean, it may deter to a certain extent, but at least it may help you to help the police to solve the crimes.
Yes, and it would the cameras would have been effective to solving crimes on the streets too. But remember what happened to that?
Yeah,
we gave this contract out, and we got the cameras that probably are dinosaurs now in the system. There are cameras. There are cameras now who can even detect a gunshot, a flash of a gun 20-30 miles away, and can tell you within a foot of where the gun was fired and so forth.
One was installed in the Scranton area or near in that area some time ago. I don't know if it's still operational, and we don't expect the police to tell us, everything, that they have. As well. But a little bird pinched me and told me that the funding and any emphasis towards the cameras, more enhanced cameras, better cameras, more specialized cameras, that was killed in cabinet. The whole idea and any approval of funding for that. A little bird told me, and that little bird knew a lot. He didn't. That little bird wasn't just in the cage there to sing.
Yes.
That little bird was a part of the cage. Anyway, we've reached the top of the hour. 8:00 news, folks. When we return, we have a lot of things that we want to talk about this morning. We want to talk about the fact that we have the Ministerial Code of Conduct. We have legislation in relation to conduct in public life. But we want to talk about campaign financing, because if you allow the potential politician, if you don't hold them accountable, at the door when it comes to financing, then when you let them in the door, how in the world you're going to be able to hold them accountable after that if you've already let them through the door and you haven't held them accountable? The need for proper campaign finance legislation in the Cayman Islands. So don't change that dial. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8:00 news.
Radio Cayman time check now, 8 a.m. This time check brought to you by our friends at Foster's.
Easter eats. Hop in this Easter weekend for Foster's Easter dinners with new recipes for an even better spread.
Order your main, sides, and desserts online starting at $94.99. Then pick it up in store, ready to feed up to 8.
Choose from a leg of lamb, an oven-roasted turkey, or maple glazed ham.
Then select 3 sides and either pumpkin or apple pie for dessert. Plus, every order comes with dinner rolls, gravy, and cranberry sauce.
Order your Easter holiday dinner online today at fosters.ky.
Foster's, better because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. A hawksbill is rescued from poachers this past weekend. The Department of Environment says on Sunday a large hawksbill sea turtle was rescued by DOE conservation officers and police. It had been tied up on land and luckily was still alive when it was found, thanks to the, quote, fast response of rescuers. After a health assessment, she was released back to the sea. Hawksbill turtles are critically endangered species with numbers declining worldwide. The number of mature breeding hawksbill in the Cayman Islands is extremely low, and there have been years when there's been no nesting occurring at all. The DOE says taking any species of sea turtle from the wild is an illegal offense because their numbers are so fragile that it's unsustainable even for the small population of the Cayman Islands. You're encouraged to help protect Cayman's wild turtles from illegal poaching by reporting any suspected illegal activity by calling 916-4271. The National Weather Service's climate bulletin for April reveals that between January and March, the average temperature for Cayman was 80 degrees, which was above the climatological average. According to the report, that period saw rainfall totals down for January and February, but March was unseasonably wet with 4.7 inches of rain falling. The average is usually only 1 inch of rain for the month. Forecasters say April to June is the transition to the wet season, with temperatures expected to be higher during the day than average. Looking at precipitation, between 11 and 15 inches of rain usually fall during that 3-month period, and this year's forecasts are relatively on par. Temperature-wise, according to the report, the average is about 83 degrees, with forecasters expecting a 45% probability of above-average temperatures. And ahead of the Easter weekend, the Royal Cayman Islands Police gave the public some steps that they can take to have a safe and enjoyable weekend while reducing their chances of becoming a victim of crime. Here's Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego.
During the holiday period, many residents across Cayman will engage in camping activities or will be traveling overseas. Because of this, police say incidents of burglaries usually increase during this time of year as burglars may take advantage of homes while they are vacant. With this in mind, the RCIPS is advising the public to consider before leaving to travel or go camping, make an inventory of your valuables, including recording serial numbers of your electronics and taking pictures of your jewelry and storing them on your phone and in your email as a backup. Properly lock and secure your premises before going camping or traveling. Be sure to leave lights on inside and outside the property. If you have light timers, police say it's best to have these set up while you are away. Consider storing valuable items within interior rooms in the residence and locking these doors. This will make it harder for would-be thieves to get access to your valuable possessions. If you have neighbors who will not be camping or traveling, consider asking them to keep an eye on your property for you. Consider leaving the campsite occasionally and making checks on your property. And if you have windows and door shutters, put these up while you're away. And consider implementing alarms and camera systems if you're able, especially those that can be monitored from your mobile phones and alert you immediately. Superintendent Brad Ebanks says community officers will be making regular visits to campsites and speaking with campers to encourage safety and at the same time ensure that the peace is being kept. Traffic officers will be showing a heightened presence on the roadways to encourage good driving behavior with a particular focus on discouraging DUI and speeding. There will also be increased patrols in residential areas, and the RCIPS is asking for the public's assistance to help them keep everyone safe by heeding the safety tips provided as much as possible. For all these tips and more, you can check out rcips.ky. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News for Debbie Russ. President Macron has begun a state visit to China by saying that Beijing could use its close links with Moscow to stop the war in Ukraine. But he also warned that any nation supporting Russia would be an accomplice to Moscow's aggression. Poland has welcomed the President Zelensky with full military honours on his first official visit to the country since the invasion of Ukraine. But the Polish agriculture minister has resigned as farmers complain about cheap Ukrainian grain. Israeli police have arrested 350 people following clashes with Palestinian worshippers inside Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque. Police say stones and fireworks were thrown at them. A top Bosnian politician has been sentenced to 4 years in prison for corruption. The court ruled that Fadil Novalic abused his position by securing a $5.9 million deal to buy Chinese ventilators during the pandemic. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com. Are you tired of waiting in long lines at the pharmacy just to fill a prescription?
If what, child, let me tell you.
Well, now you can save time and money with ValueMed's online prescription service. Visit ValueMed's new website, valrx.com, and click the Refill Subscriptions button. Fill in your information and choose your preferred pickup location. Or email your prescription refills for ValueMed Walkers Road at rx-wr@valrx.com, and for ValueMed in Bordentown, email rx-bt@valrx.com. Say goodbye to the hassle of waiting in lines and hello to the convenience of online prescriptions with ValueMed Pharmacy. Visit valrx.com to place your orders today.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store, or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. At Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
Wednesday, April 26th is World Intellectual Property Day. It's a time to celebrate our creative minds, from musicians, songwriters, and authors to inventors, designers, painters, and so much more. Did you know that their creations, just like yours, can be protected by a patent, trademark, or copyright? Find out how to register and protect your intellectual property today. Visit the Cayman Islands Intellectual Property Office website at ciipo.ky for more information. That's ciipo.ky. It's your innovation, your creation, and your intellectual property. Protect it today.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first. All right, good morning, my friends. Once again, let's take a look at your latest weather. It's nice and sunny on the outside. The present temperature is about 80 degrees, but it feels much warmer, like about 87. Winds are out of the east at 5 miles per hour. Relative humidity 84%. Barometric pressure at 29.97 inches. Of course, your weather provided by the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. They say light to moderate winds and seas are expected for the next 24 hours, associated with a ridge of high pressure, which is extending from the Atlantic across the Gulf of Mexico. Our forecast for today calls for partly cloudy skies, 20% chance of showers. Temperatures will rise to the mid-80s. Winds will be east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be moderate, wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Looking at later this evening, fair to partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall to the mid-70s. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. High tide is coming up at 8:41 this morning. It's going to be low at 3:07 this afternoon and high again at 9:38 this evening. Sunset coming up at 6:39, and the outlook is for similar weather through Friday morning. And that, my friends, is your latest weather.
Hey guys, I got a joke for you. What did one ocean say to the other?
I don't know.
Nothing. It just waved.
I don't get it.
An ocean? It waves to another ocean.
Oceans can't wave. They don't have hands.
What?
How would they even see each other? They don't have eyes either.
Seriously, how are you not getting this?
Oceans aren't even alive. Nothing you said makes sense.
With most claims paid within a few days, we're like a friend that doesn't miss the joke. CG Britcay. Good like that.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong series. The Cayman Strong series is brought to you by On Course Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking, change your life. Staying focused on your long-term goals is crucial.
As motivational speaker and author Mel Robbins said in her book titled The 5-Second Rule, it's a numbers game. To play any game, you have to start. To win, you need to keep going. If you want to make your dreams come true, get ready for the long game. Life is not a one-and-done sort of deal. You've got to work for what you want. Life is gritty and hard, and then suddenly it's brilliant and amazing.
Change your thinking. Change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong series. The Cayman Strong series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Once again, good morning, my friends. Just about 13 minutes after 8 o'clock. Traffic coming out of the eastern districts. Already still got some traffic along Bobby Thompson Way, Linford Pearson Highway, and of course Crew Road. And of course, if you're going through South Sound and turning up to Walker's Road, expect some delays, slight traffic. And of course, through South Church Street, 3 cruise ships in port, so we have lots of busy movement in the Georgetown area, Seafarers Way, North Church Street, West Bay Road. Special good morning to all the taxis and buses, ferrying some of these passengers out and about in Grand Cayman as well. Shutter Road, Eastern Avenue, God Prediction Way, fair to find, moderate traffic. And of course, taking a look at, I mentioned Bobby Thompson Way, got some traffic similar coming on to Huldah Avenue and moving on when it starts to move about. The Butterfield roundabout, of course, busy this time of the morning with some traffic coming off the Esley Tibbetts. And of course, North Sound Road experiencing some traffic as well. West Bay Road, looking after the Ritz-Carlton, traffic moving smoothly into the Georgetown area. Cayman Brack and Little Cayman, light traffic this morning time. Your traffic report, of course, brought to you by our good friends at Subway. Why not grab some breakfast at a Subway nearest you?
When you're craving something big, something tasty that gives you that lip-smacking satisfaction, something that hits the spot, there is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
It's pretty tasty.
Filling and full of flavor. Try our new sweet onion steak teriyaki with a twist, or the classic chicken teriyaki. Top it with green pepper, onions, cheese, and that sweet onion teriyaki sauce, all piled on your favorite artisanal bread. Satisfy that craving with a footlong from Subway.
Fresh, delicious, tasty, meaty.
Let's make it a meal with a drink, chips, and cookies. There is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Dr. Steve McField. Received a message from one of our listeners saying that there was a problem with live streaming. It should be working now. If it isn't, please can you send me another message as to whether or not you're still experiencing problems with our live streaming as well. So, Doc, over to you. I'm going to doing some research here in terms of our elections law and election financing, looking that up in the meantime. So want you to, I know you have lots of things that you want to talk about as well, so I'm going to throw the mic over to you.
What do you say you want to talk about now?
Well, I mentioned the fact that we do have all legislation where we try to govern public servants, including politicians. We have the Ministerial Code of Conduct.
Ministerial Code of Conduct. We have that, but the only
standards
thing,
in public life.
Standard in public life. We have that. The thing that we don't have is something to control the finances that politicians receive before an election. Campaign finances.
Yes.
We don't have that. And we noticed that there is an article. I think where did you find that article this morning, Mr. For the Record, about the former.
Yes.
The former chief minister of Scotland.
There's an article on BBC in relation to the First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, who has resigned, but her husband has just been arrested, right, and is being questioned in relation to campaign financing. And I'm wondering whether or not that the fact that they knew that was probably pending or it was going to be coming,
that she resigned.
That she resigned, as the leader.
Yes, and it goes to show in the UK that matter campaign financing is taken very seriously indeed, and we have no legislation here to cover campaign financing except some flimsy stuff written into our elections law that says that you do not have to declare your campaign financing until after you have been nominated to serve in the parliament after you have been nominated. But look what happens all before that you have, and even then after you have been nominated, it's not very clear. It's not very clear whether or not you will be held liable for anything that you don't declare. So it seems to me that when you should be holding the proposed parliamentarian accountable before he steps into the hall of Parliament, instead of trying to hold him accountable after he gets in. Because as you said, the horses has already left the gate. The horses are already bolted, sitting in the field running amok. And with how things are developing today in our country, we are not sure whether or not people cannot buy an election, because there's a lot of money in the in the island today that are probably not indigenous money. That means that doesn't derive from Caymanians, and that is, and you know, without campaign financing, a part of the whole democratic process, it is possible that some politicians could be persuaded to take campaign money to fight their elections, and then lo and behold, they will owe favors to those people who finance their elections for them. That is something that we should be thinking about, and that is something that the elected administration should be thinking about, strengthening the elections law to make them more accountable to the people.
And you know, of course, here in Cayman, one of the strongest proponents of proper election financing legislation has been Mr. Gilbert McLean.
Yes.
And, you know, many times his calls fell on deaf ears. It's like the challenges and the deafening silence that we are seeing now in relation to the implementation of the advisory district councils.
Yes.
There are some who are for it, but the majority of them are not for it.
Are not for it. But, Mr. For the record, let us not forget that this elected administration is a post-election administration. That means that they only got together after the election. They are not bound together by party allegiance. So you would expect some sort of constant give and take in reaching policy decisions. But at the same time, one would expect that there should be some road for some sort of formality. Although they seem to be working together as a team, as a working group. And remember now that they derive their authority from Parliament, and that their powers are limited by the governor, Section 81 reserve powers, and so that means that that I would expect that they should be more. There should be more formal. There should be more formality between them than just being independents who are forming day-to-day policy. What do you think about that?
Can you repeat the last part for me? Sorry.
I said. I was saying that they are a post-election administration. That means that they didn't run together as a team. They're not a party. They didn't run together as on a policy issues. They only got together after the election. That means that's why I call it a post-election administration.
Right.
And I says that they're all independents. And I say so far they seem to be working together as a team. That's good that they're working together as a team, but they have and I was saying that they derive their authority from Parliament, but they have not done much to have some sort of formality so that their policies can have some sort of perpetuity to it.
Now they will argue and say that once we got together, we decided some of the things that we had in common, and those they would seek to achieve as much as possible. Now, whether or not they have been able to stick to that, because you hear of situations where one particular minister is demanding more in this area, one is demanding more in that area. And that even happens with political parties as well. We saw during the PPM administration at one point in time, the Honorable Arden McLean, and I'm sure that while he may be busy today, he's probably listening if he's in his vehicle. But because of his emphasis and the need for a proper road infrastructure in the Cayman Islands, that some of the monies were diverted from other efforts to go into the road effort. But that was all mutual. You know, they agreed to it. They could come out. They could come out in the public and say, "This is exactly what we have done."
What is it when they don't agree though?
Yes, that is
some issues now they're not agreeing on.
And when you don't agree and you're not within a formal political party setting, that is where the problem arises.
Yes, because if you don't agree, if you are an independent and you can't agree and you don't agree, then the whole system, the whole doctrine of collective responsibility falls away. That is sufficient. But anyone who has been a student of parliamentary history and constitutional history will know that collective responsibility and the party system develop side by side in the UK. And if you are all the countries, I have said this so many times before, all the countries who have adopted the Westminster system of government, it's a party system, and it doesn't bode well for independence. Independents will always have difficulty performing their collective duties, their collective responsibility duties under the Westminster system if they're not a party system.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I believe we have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Dr. McPhail. Good morning to you. It's hump. I think they call wind is hump day, so let's have some fun. Let's just talk about what broadly, really. I think the next election is going to be focused on what I would call, or some people may refer to as radical ideas, but they're not radical at all. I'm talking about probably. I think the younger people are going to come forward and start to show themselves. Issues like protection of Caymanian businesses, curtailing of big investors, being able to unfairly compete against the small Caymanian businessman. They do it in the Bahamas, for example. You cannot have a T-shirt shop as a foreigner that you're competing against a Caymanian who are a Bahamian who's doing the same thing. And I think down here in Cayman, we have a lot of fronting going on, and I think we need to have real direct protection, and it goes against the laissez-faire free market economic module that we seem to crave down here. But I think it's time for us to have a group of people that brings up some what I would call, and as I said earlier, they're not radical ideas at all, but some people say, well, that's radical. But protection of Caymanian businesses, protection of Caymanians generally, protection of Caymanians, and even going as far as bringing back the Cayman Protection Board, if it's only in name only, to show that for once and for all, this is Cayman. We are losing our identity, gentlemen. We are losing our identity, and if we are not careful, we're just going to soon look like any other little island in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
And ideas also like well, I gone blank this morning, so I asked Dr. McPhail to please help me. What stuff do you think they would move the Cayman Islands forward, Dr. McPhail?
I don't know. Change is difficult here. Change is difficult, and you can only move ahead when you accept change.
Right.
you know, like my grandmother used to say when I was young. She said, "Oh yeah, you're not going anywhere. You're taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps backward."
Yes.
And I used to understand, what does my grandmother mean by that? Because it means I'm not going anywhere then if I'm doing that. So change is very difficult here, Mr. Ebanks. Just let me give you an example. When I came here and I joined the judicial system as clerk of the courts,
right.
We had a case, a very important case that they came before the courts. The coroner against Carl Brandon, and my job was to summon the jury on the judicial law, summon the jury. And when I got the jury list together, you got the jury list from the electoral list, people who elect electoral list, and I summoned. I think in those days were 35 people, and I gave the writ to the bailiff then to bring the jurors to the court to try the case. I got a letter back from the bailiff saying that he was objecting to 13 names on the jury list. Now, the bailiff in those days was a superintendent of police. And I wrote a letter back and said, listen, you are a policeman. You have no business interfering in the judicial system.
Yes.
And I almost lost my job. I almost lost my job over that. And the only reason why I kept my job because I had an acting grand court judge he was only acting then, standing behind me to defend the system that we were working in. And when I did the budget for the courts for the judicial system that year, I included a bailiff, and we did not even have a library. I did to include a library, and the first bailiff was Twyla Vargas, who was a police officer, be brought from the police force as bailiff. Those are the kind of things that people are not willing to do today. They're not willing to stand today. They're willing to stand, and you can't stand today because today is different from when I came in 1974, 75. It's different now because today you will not be able to survive. Because you got all the mortgage to pay, you got all these things to pay, you got all that kind of stuff to pay, and so forth. So change in Cayman is very difficult. It's very difficult to change. It's almost like pulling teeth.
Caller, we have to go to a commercial break, so I'll give you an opportunity just to wrap up. Go right ahead.
Well, just to piggyback on what Dr. Matthew said about change, people are not also in Cayman willing to speak up. We were very passive. Yesterday, I had to raise my voice at a bank. I had a check from a client. We had down to cash it, and the bank says, unless I have an account with them, I couldn't cash a check. And I said, well, but charge you $10 like how the other banks do, and then you can cash it. No, we can't do that. And I raised my voice, and because I think it was a stupid idea, so I'll actually end on that. We Caymanians have got to learn how to speak up.
And I see where some people made a big deal of that on social media and stuff like that as well, unfortunately.
That's nonsense. I see what they say about a policeman was called. That's a lie. There was no policeman called. But that person who says that is anyway, I won't say no more.
Okay.
But, I only raise my voice because it's a stupid idea. It's a stupid policy. And good morning.
And continue to exercise your right that you have to speak to speak out.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. It's a stupid idea. How can I go down there with a check which I need cash, and they tell me that they can't cash it unless I have an account with them?
And it's a check, and it was their check drawn on that bank.
It was a check drawn on Scotiabank. So I'll call the bank name. A check drawn on Scotiabank by a big client of theirs, and they can't cash it because I don't have a account. I had to call up the client, and he had to leave his office, go down to that bank, and withdraw cash, and then take the check he had given me, take that check back. Yeah. That is utter nonsense.
And you had proper identification that it was you?
They asked me for my ID, and then they tell me after my ID, sorry, unless you have an account here, we can't cash your check.
All right, caller. Thank you very much. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. We have our caller and host, Paul. No, okay, we should have a call coming through in a few minutes. I would encourage that caller to call in now so that we'll be ready for you as soon as we return from the commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay.
No one can stop me when I taste the beer.
Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
West Bay Pharmacy. Personalized medicine, customized care to meet your specific needs. Your body is unique to you. Your medicine should be too. Whether you're seeking individual specific medication, correct size dosages, or simply better tasting medicine, ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about how compounding at West Bay Pharmacy can increase your treatment options, not only for your family, but for your pets too. West Bay Pharmacy, open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sundays and most holidays from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Ensuring your walls, ceilings, and floors are properly sealed against air leaks is an important step in lowering your monthly energy bills. Even small gaps around windows, under doors, or around lighting and plumbing fixtures can add up to as much air loss as having an open window.
The do-it-yourself energy audits on energy.gov.ky make it easy to find ways to save energy and money in your home or business.
Complete an energy audit of your home or business before 31st of May 2023 to be entered into a prize giveaway. Prizes include a $5,000 gift certificate to Home Gas and gift certificates to Cooling Pros, Foam Pros, Costyless, and Foster's.
To learn more, visit energy.gov.ky today and follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram.
Christian Enlightenment Center, located on the waterfront, has received a new shipment of beautiful Bibles just in time for Easter. Leather-bound, a red letter, a large and regular print study Bibles. For Easter Sunday, we have church bulletins with new inspirational designs. At the Christian Enlightenment Center this Easter, everything is blooming with color, like our water bottles, bookmarks, wall art, and you will love our Bible covers. Refresh your stationery. We have notepads, pens, markers, Bible tabs, and attractive desk accessories. Books? Did we tell you we have a new selection of books too? Loads of them. Satisfy your curiosity by coming to our store. Open Monday through Saturday 9 to 6 at the new location on North Church Street beside the Burger King on the waterfront in Georgetown. 945-1252. Christian Enlightenment Center. Gifts for life.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve Macfield, and we do have a caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to Dr. Macfield.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Mr. Minister, Reverend Minister.
Yes, sir. It's Kenneth Bryan. I was calling him because I obviously, OC, you know, I follow you on Radio Cayman every
Sure.
time you're on.
Yes.
And I always love the conversations, and I thought I would be able to add some real-life context to the subject matter of independence coming together and the complexities of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was analyzing or listening to Dr. Macfield's analysis of well, how do we operate when you have a system of the Westminster system, which is based on a party structure. But I find that we're not any different in our challenges than those in the United Kingdom or any other party system structure, because the ideologies are now not as solid as they used to be. They're more fluent and flexible. Where you don't get people who are simply Republican and Democrat or conservative and progressive. People have a little bit of both. Some people are down the middle, and that's the evolution of people's mindset. Where they're not solely Labour or Republican. You know what I mean? So, and I mean, I think we were talking, and please interact with me on this because I want to learn with you and then give my reactions so the public can understand from a real life context.
Sure.
Because when we talk about how it works, I don't see much of a difference, in my humble opinion, when a group of individuals come together before an election to say these are the common principles that we all agree on. Because in Cayman, we don't have the party system that is specific to an ideology, like, say, for instance, a Labour Party, where their focus has been on Labour matters. That would be the common thing that would keep them together. or a conservative government where, you know, they're more based Christian views and so forth. The fact is, it doesn't matter when you come together, but more about the commitment to each other and what bounds you together. So if we agree in these principles of commonality before an election, or if you agree with these commonalities on issues after election, it really doesn't matter when you agree it, but whether you're committed to each other for it and how you handle the differences. Because like you rightfully said, OC, even party members and party governments have disagreements. We see that in the UK and the US Parliament, where a Republican will vote against a Republican bill, or a conservative will vote against a conservative bill or piece of legislation. So that's not new. That is where you can be a part of a system but still have an independent viewpoint on a particular matter, right? So when you agree on these principles, and that's what happened with the PAC administration, we came together afterwards, we found our commonalities, and we put together a SPS, a strategic policy statement, as to the things we've agreed to. So that is your binding document, and everything that comes after that is kind of new things that you figure it out together, and that's where the collective bargaining, collective responsibility element comes to hold you in control. So, for example, if there is a bill that comes to the House, I'm a minister, I'm obligated, whether I'm a party member or not, to collective responsibility. Once you commit to that, you have to follow through. That's how the system works. So I'm not sure if I agree that we have to have better structures that keep a group of people together for stability purposes. And I think that's what we need to focus on. But it's not necessarily because whether it's a party or not. But today, all countries are having the struggle of what is the ideology that will give you comfort that they will stick together. And because it's so fluid nowadays, it's not like how it was 50 years ago, where it was, you know, people who were staunch labor persons or staunch conservatives or Republicans. So the challenge is not only unique to Cayman. It's about the maturity necessary amongst members who are elected, and what are the common principles that guide you together. And one of the things I know that I'm going to have to recognize is building bonds with people you go to serve with, to say, this is a person where I am willing to compromise with, this is a person I trust, and I'll give credit where credit is due. When you have a party system, you build bonds together. You've been to the political war, so to speak, together for a long time, so it's easier compromises as opposed to a group of independents who come together afterwards. You're willing to stand firm on what you believe in because you haven't been to battle together. You haven't enjoyed camaraderie together for a long enough period of time where compromise is made.
Minister, could you speak then to the difference in terms of when you have a grouping together, when you have a political party, the types of internal controls that are in place when you have a party system, depending on the party constitution? If you disagree, how you go about dealing with those disagreements, and if those disagreements cannot be resolved, then what is the next step, as opposed to when there is a loose bond between members?
I agree with that, and that's a very good point, OC. So there is pros to that, but there's also cons, and that's one of the things why people are against the party system. So in a party system, let's rehash that for a second. You have a group of constituents who are members. They come together at a conference. That conference, they select who the leader is. The Constitution says that leader ultimately has the last say if they get down to that point where they can't have an agreement, and you have to follow suit with the leader. And the Constitution will say, well, if you don't follow suit, because we've all agreed from a membership perspective, which is your voters, then you're not sticking with the team. So you could be dictated to say, oh, I know you don't agree with this, but you're going to follow suit because this is the structure that you are, I don't want to use the word stuck to, but you have committed to.
And if you refuse to, then the other option is to resign.
Resign.
Exactly. But you see, this is what the public has said, you know, you don't have the opportunity to have your own view. So it seems dictatorial in a sense. I'm not saying that it is, but it has characteristics of that, because then you have sole absolute power by a particular leader. And it's no longer about a group of individuals. Once you create a structure like that, then ultimately the one person could have all the power. I'm not saying that's always how it works.
So, Mr. Minister, the one person does not have all the power, because under the Westminster system, a prime minister or a premier is primo inter primus. It means that he is first among equals.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have all the power. He only has the power that the Constitution gives him, and that's the power to appoint ministers. But he doesn't have all. He cannot do what he wants. It's what they read Jeffrey Archer's book,
First Among Equals,
and you'll get an idea of how it works.
Mm-hmm.
He's first among equals. He's not more equal. He's not more equal than all the members of his cabinet. He's on the first among equals. He speaks for them.
Mm-hmm. I think you're talking more about the party within the party,
yes,
as opposed to the parliament.
So another feature of the party system is that the party has their policies set out before election time.
Mm-hmm.
They come to election with their policies, and people voting not for the individual, not for Kenneth Bryan, not for Mr. Panton, not for John Seymour, but they're voting for the policy of the party. They're voting for the party. Mm-hmm. You are second. They're voting for your party, but in the system we have here, they're voting because they like you.
Mm-hmm. But that individual has to get elected first. Minister, I'm going to ask you to stay on the line.
Yes.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to continue to entertain you until. I shouldn't say you use the word entertain because it's not entertainment.
To engage
you until 9 o'clock. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly. We do have other callers.
So much happening so fast, too much. It is hard for me to follow my health care instructions. The private counseling with West Bay Pharmacy literally saved my life.
At West Bay Pharmacy, we know how complex medications can be. Our pharmacists are delighted to offer you personalized one-on-one healthcare counseling, free medication review, therapeutic callbacks, and we will liaise with your physician to ensure you receive the best in quality medical care.
Quality of life has a whole new meaning with the right pharmacy to support you. Thank you, West Bay Pharmacy.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Now you can WhatsApp your West Bay Pharmacy prescriptions to 516-0777.
If it's time for new appliances, hop on into the LG Appliance Easter Sale, now on at Brand Source Home Gallery. Save 15% off on LG appliances. Buy a 4-piece kitchen and you'll get a further 5% off. Yes, if you have older appliances that have seen better days, don't wait. Take advantage now of the LG Appliance Easter Sale. Hurry in. Sale ends Saturday, April 15th. Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Phone 623-5000.
Stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I'm send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the people's station. Your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve Macfield. On the phone lines, Minister, the Honorable Kenneth Bryan. We do have other callers on hold. We're going to say to those callers that we're going to continue to speak with Minister Bryan until 9 o'clock. After headline news, I would encourage them to call back. So before I throw the mic back over to you, Minister, and
I just want to speak to you for a minute.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay?
Go ahead.
Mr. Minister?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Another thing that the system that I speaks about eliminates. It eliminates different policy decisions on the same matter between ministers. That's the difficulty that we have in this country. One minister has one policy on one thing, on the same thing, another minister has policy on the same thing. it eliminates that, because you go with one policy. That policy is.
I think that can be eliminated once you've done your SPS, which is a strategic policy statement, and that policy would be drafted.
No, Mr. Minister, I disagree with you. There's nothing under the independent system where you have everyone has the right to speak their minds independently. That doesn't work, because you have to have loyalty. You have to have loyalty and discipline to the policy that is set down by the party.
Well, we can agree to disagree about that. I mean, I'm living it myself, where we agree to a policy and you're committed to that. The discipline that you're speaking of, which is necessary for good governance, I don't necessarily think that it is only absolute to party politics. You have to have discipline even in a grouping coming together. That has nothing to do with the system, but the individual, right? In respect for good governance. So you know that I strongly disagree with some things, but I respect my colleagues in the good governance of the country, whereby, okay, we're going to go down a particular road. If I cannot convince, persuade, or inform my colleagues in a way where I can convince them differently, then I've failed in my attempt to try to get persuasion, to get the support to go a different direction. And then that therefore means that the majority of the people, based on the representation of the rest of the country, is for a different direction. So if you're 1 of 10 and you don't get your way, that means you have to accept that 1 of 10, which is the government, that means majority of the country doesn't see it that way, because these people represent other constituents across the island. So you don't just say, oh, I don't support it. You have to respect the majority will of the people, and that's discipline, that's respect. That has nothing to do with the system itself. And I disagree with your point that the policy does not dictate your discipline. Once you've agreed to that SPS, and we're about to do one now, and that SPS should give the country a guidance of what to expect from every member of that government moving forward by way of policy. Now, a policy position can develop as things happen. Say, for example, we have a major immigration problem with the Cuban crisis come up a year from now because we had an influx. You have to create a policy around that narrative, around that event, and then you announce it. Then that's a new committal to a different policy, because policies are guidance documents as to how you handle any particular matter. But
could we use another example that while I have you there? Yes. We know, for instance, that former Deputy Premier and former Minister Saunders was strong on immigration policy and border control. Immigration policy to the extent, of trying to make the immigration system, the work permit system, more Caymanian friendly. And when I say that, I mean more friendly towards Caymanians being employed, how they're treated in the workforce and everything. We know that was part of his personal journey.
I don't think
are we likely to see that continue now, when some people, including myself to a certain extent, are already speculating that the revocation of the requirement for temporary work permits to be advertised, those job positions to be advertised before submitting an application, has already been repealed?
Okay, well, good point. I don't necessarily think that it was one of individual viewpoint by himself as a former deputy premier, who was a friend of mine. And
but he challenged, he championed that.
Yes, he did. And he rightfully did so, because he was representing the labor component on behalf of all members. So he was our voice. He didn't do it by himself. We had agreed to that principle. We still agree to that principle.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Caymanians, to protect Caymanians from an immigration perspective. But I think it's fair to say that everybody has a right to, when you make a decision about a particular matter, if you see new evidence to suggest different things, that you can stop, take a check, refocus, or what have you. And what has happened is that since we agreed to that position, we've got a lot of representation, and we want to make sure that operates itself properly. Now, it has not been revoked. what it has been done has been stalled for a period of time to ensure that when it is implemented, it does what it hopes to do.
Well, that wasn't clearly clearly specified in that press release.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And I've told my colleagues, I said, we got to be careful of our messaging because people may get the wrong idea, particularly once we just saw one of our members leave the camp. So it looks as if to say we are stopping what he did. He didn't do anything in isolation. He did it together with our blessing. It had to be approved by cabinet, which brings in the collective responsibility element. So we can't jump away from that responsibility. But what has happened was one recalibrating whether the effect of this will either hurt or harm or help what we intended it to do. So it's not a gone away. It's to reassess based on the feedback we got from the community. And these are Caymanians who need work labor for their companies as well as to protect Caymanians in the job market. So I just want to put that context there. Hopefully that clarified that.
Well, hopefully, the messages that are coming in, and hopefully the government will be listening to both sides, because it is my fervent view that the temporary work permit system that we have implemented here in the Cayman Islands gives the holder of a temporary work permit the first foot in the door. I would even say a foot and a half into the door in terms of employment. That person can get a work permit, a temporary work permit for what? 3 months up to 6 months, and if they have applied for an annual work permit, they can continue to work while that is being processed. Which employer at that point in time is going to say, "Oh, I found a Caymanian for the job, so I'm not going to continue with the temporary"? You know what they say? They say this person has been in the job now for 3-6 months. They know all of the ins and outs and stuff like that. We cannot afford to lose him. So that is the downside of that. So I hope that we're listening to those folks who are saying that as well.
And the other thing, Honourable Minister.
One second, Doc. Sorry, Doc. And thank you so much for that analysis, OC, and you're 100% correct. I want to respect the new minister as he will be the voice on behalf of the administration to deliver what is the new position moving forward. And I know he's capable of doing that, and he's getting himself, debriefed on all the matters in respect to that area, and he will come on behalf of the Park government to say what the way forward is soon. So I want to give him that opportunity. Okay. And he does have an obligation to come and say, okay, then now that you are the new minister, what is the take on this change? Because we need to know. But I wanted to make sure it doesn't seem as if to say.
But be careful now. Don't contradict yourself there, because in one breath you're telling us that while Mrs. Saunders was very passionate about it. This was, a decision that was made by all. So while Mr. Seymour now is the minister, he still is going to be guided by what the overall PAC has decided in relation to this.
Okay, well, if I've delivered that in the wrong way, then I do apologize. But I think I was saying exactly the same thing, which is it's for him to come and be the voice of the Park government, because there has been a collective change, and that collective change represents all of us. So come and explain on behalf of the people, because I just tried to give you an explanation.
Oh, you're talking about explaining to the public. Oh, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Okay, all right. Okay. Well, I think Dr. Maxfield was going to say something.
Yeah, Doc. Very quickly, because we got to go to.
I was going to say that a temporary work permit should be for a temporary purpose. You know what that means, Mr. Minister? It means that if CUC needs a new generator and there's no one in Cayman Islands to do it, to install it, and you can give a temporary work permit to do that. And if someone needs their office overhaul and they have IT work that no one can do it, then a temporary work permit should be for a temporary purpose. That is what a temporary work permit means. But a temporary work permit then should not be enlarged into a full permit, because then the temporary work permit was not for a temporary purpose.
And there's no dispute there. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I see that the conversation has moved away from the party politics and independent politics to now a different topic. But I agree with you, and I want to say that I'm certain that the minister will come and deliver exactly what the government's policy is in respect to this area. And bear in mind, there's boards that deliver our policy in respect to that. So, but the part that you don't get in an SPS is the discussion that we started with, which is the complexities of working with independent members coming together, as opposed to persons who were pre-organized and categorize themselves as a group or a party, because it's the same thing, right? All of the commonality is agreement to work together. And what is that glue? And normally that glue over time, over decades of political structure, has always been ideology. And unfortunately, not only Cayman is dealing with this problem, ideologies are so fluent now today that's what's, you even look at the United Kingdom and the United States, where they've had how many prime ministers in the United Kingdom in the last 5 years?
Minister, I'm over my time for headline news.
Okay. All right.
Want to thank you very much, but we're going to be here until 10 o'clock.
Yes.
So if the opportunity arises, please call us back as well.
If you need me to call back in, please just say it. I'll be listening.
Certainly.
And
Excellent.
Mr. Minister,
folks,
yes.
Top of the hour, headline news. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Follow Radio Cayman on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio Cayman.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
A second round of community meetings aimed at engaging and informing Cayman residents about the upcoming National Health Survey Steps 2023 is taking place next week. It's going to be happening at the Northside Civic Center on April 13th at 6:30 p.m. The United States is, quote, going to hell, Donald Trump has said in a defiant address after pleading not guilty to falsifying business records to hide damaging information ahead of the 2016 election. The former president was charged with 34 counts in a Manhattan court in New York on Tuesday. These relate to a hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels, who said they had an affair. Mr. Trump is the first U.S. president in history to face a criminal trial. And liberals have won their first majority in Wisconsin's highest court in 15 years after the most expensive race to elect a judge in U.S. history. Janet Protasewicz's victory could prove pivotal in votes on abortion rights and election matters in the Midwestern battleground state. The Milwaukee County Circuit Court judge beat conservative candidate Justice Daniel Kelly. The Wisconsin Supreme Court election is meant to be nonpartisan. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
The headline news are brought to you by Health Services Authority.
When you have a sports or fitness-related injury, trust the expertise of the HSA Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic to get you back in the game. Our internationally trained and certified physicians specialize in sports traumatology, sports medicine, pain management, and orthopedic surgery. For treatment of common injuries such as tendonitis, arthritis, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, or knee tears, schedule a consultation with the Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic at Smith Road Medical Center by calling 949-8600 or visit hsa.ky for more information.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve MacPhail. I want to apologize to those callers who were waiting earlier, and we suggested that they call back. So I extend, my apologies to them. We do have a caller, two callers. Let's grab the callers. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Hey, morning. How are you?
I'm good, man. Morning, Dr. Steve.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I was listening to you talking about the jury selection. So I want to find out, well, 3 times I went to trial and they had no jury from Cayman Brown. That's why my case was stopped. It was stopped. They can appeal it, but I want to find out what will happen in the future and what could I do about that, if anything, for that type of treatment that our judiciary is dealing toward the local people that stand up for their own people. Because like what Donald Trump said last night, it was just to keep me quiet politically. And I don't care what nobody say. I'm listening for your answer, sir. Thank you very much for your advice.
Well, I'm sorry, but I don't give advice on advice about what your action should be on the radio. If you want to hear, if you want that kind of advice, I have an office that you could contact. You contact. I don't know what the position was with your jury, but I know that the court dealt with it and said that you were not fairly treated because you didn't have jury from your own peers, and I guess what they meant, your own peers from your own geographical area, and I think that was deal. But anyway, anything beyond that, I wouldn't be able to give you any advice on that.
Okay, fair enough. Let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor, Dr. Maxfield.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Up two things I call about this morning. Number one, as a business owner in Cayman, right? I try to hire mostly Caymanians, but I think before the government try to fix the issues that we're talking about now with the permits and the temporary permits, what we actually need to do, right, is we need to look at the Cayman businesses, the Caymanian-owned businesses, because certain of these actions would hamper a Caymanian-owned business, as in work permits and everything else like that, right? You have a lot of frivolous people here having permits and just pulling out permits for individual, and they don't actually work for them, and they're walking around looking for jobs. And you're going to say to me, how do you know that? Or how do you tell that that person does that? Well, you know, you have people that go in and paying their health insurance and stuff with cash. That's a red flag. Going and paying their pension with cash. That's a red flag, right? If you're not getting a company check or a business check, then we have a problem, right? So those things I think should be reported, and then we can see the who's here frivolously and clean that up first before we jump into the deep end and say this is what we need to do. Because some of these policies and rules and regulations are going to hurt Cayman businesses, right? So what needs to happen, I think, and they spoke about this for years, that you'll have a point system that, you know, if you're a good business and upstanding with your Caymanian employment, then you'll get through the permit quicker or whatever the case. Yeah. That has never been done, right?
No, I think they do have... I'm not sure how far it's implemented, but I think that there is some recognition for those businesses. Yes, can't speak authoritatively.
So as a business owner, I haven't seen it, so that's why I'm saying that. So I just want to bring that up. So I think those are the things I think that need to happen.
Good point.
In order to curb that we don't have frivolous people here. Because let's face it, we have a lot of people here turning permits in. And I'll give you a prime example. I had a guy on a work permit come and ask me to give him a contract, a false contract from my company to say that he's working for me so he can give to his employer to get a permit. I said, no way. Why would I do something like that? Right? So if he's asking me, then how much other people are doing the same thing?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a problem.
And what you're finding also, caller, is that the daily work that they're getting from employers is simply not providing sufficient financing for them. So everyone wants to strike out on their own whichever way they can.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the stuff we need to look at. The next one I want to talk about, which I'm a little bit perturbed about, right, is this. I read an article in a newspaper about the sand on the beach and putting sand on the beach and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys saw it. Right?
About the 21 million?
Yeah. So I read that article, and I got really perturbed about it. Right? And I might sound a little bit draconian when I say this, but I think this is what needs to be done. And our Caymanian people simply need to stand up, right? I'll ask you two gentlemen this. Do you think putting sand on the beach can solve the problem?
No, I don't think so, no.
Okay, good. So you all have the same opinion as me. So I'll tell you what my go-to answer would be for that. I think any place right now that's water is beaten up on the wall belongs to the Cayman people. And planners should get a directive to tell them to tear the buildings down and go claim on their insurance, right? And that's what they need to do. And then if they want to build back, they build further back and get permission to build further back and put up no seawalls on the beach. right? Because putting sand and spending $21 million, you're going to have to do it again.
Yes.
Okay? I don't care how much sand you put it there, it's going to wash away, and you can do it again. So the only way to solve this issue when we have a great 7 Mile beach washing away, which is supposedly what the tourists come here to see, right? Okay? We need to take care of it. How you do that? Okay? We need to take these stands, because unless we take these kind of stands, it sounds draconian, but those people simply need to get a directive for planning to say, listen, these buildings are condemned at this point because they're in the water, and tear them down and give them an option to build further up, go higher, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I mean, if we're so much in love with our environment and our beaches, we should be prepared to take those draconian steps.
But I think that is the only solution, because putting sand on the beach is not a true solution. And the other thing that needs to be done is we simply need to send a directive again and say, tear all these seawalls down.
Well, I said that long time before, and I support you with that. Tear all those seawalls down.
Take them down. I mean, you can walk at the older places, right? And anybody that's out there listening to this, just go by London House or go by those older places where it does not have a seawall, right? And take a walk and take a look. As you walk down the beach, anywhere that is a seawall, the beach is completely gone, right?
Yep.
Where there's not a seawall, they have abundance of sand.
Yep.
Right? So obviously it's an issue.
Yep, and based on what we're hearing, places like the Marriott, when it was being built and when those walls were being built, they were forewarned about it, but for some reason were allowed to do it. So you know what we should be saying to them? You made your bed, now sleep in it.
Well, what my fear is, right, is this. And that's why I'm saying that they should condemn the building and claim on the insurance. Suppose they go for insurance, now the insurance going to take a look and say we can't insure this building. Whose problem is that now? Is that mine or your problem? Right? So that's an issue. So if the insurance go there and look at it and say you're in the water, we're not insuring this building anymore because you're in the water. Where you can get insurance from? Now you can turn on us now to pull up the place with sand so you can get insurance. Tear it down.
Next thing you'll hear that the Cayman Islands are buying it for a hotel training school.
Yes. Or next thing you'll hear that it's our responsibility because we gave them planning permission to do so, to build it there.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys.
Okay.
Again, and, Mr. Markfield, before I leave, I'll give you a public invite. I know you're busy to come and see the farm.
Thank you. Maybe over the weekend I can come.
No problem. Just let me know, and I'll have it ready.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
thank
sir.
You.
Caller, thank you. Thank you very much. Paul, any other callers on hold? One caller. Why don't we take the commercial break, because we have about a minute and a half before we go there, and then we will take the caller. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
If it's time for new appliances, hop on into the LG Appliance Easter Sale now on at Brand Source Home Gallery. Save 15% off on LG appliances. Buy a 4-piece kitchen and you'll get a further 5% off. Yes, if you have older appliances that have seen better days, don't wait. Take advantage now of the LG Appliance Easter Sale. Hurry in. Sale ends Saturday, April 15th. Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Phone 623-5000.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone, and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
Kirk Freeport's Easter at Bayshore family event is back. This Easter Saturday, April 8th, hop down to the Bayshore Mall in Georgetown from 4 to 6 p.m. for sweet treats including popcorn, snow cones, and cotton candy. Don't miss the Easter bunnies, and there's even a kid scavenger hunt with chocolate prizes, plus face painting and musical entertainment. The event is free, and there's free parking behind the mall for parents too. Easter at Bayshore is back. Visit KirkFreeport.com for more information. Happy Easter from everyone at Kirk Freeport.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We still have a caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Connor. Good morning, Mr. Maxfield.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Dr. Maxfield, my apologies.
It's okay.
I would just like to make 3 quick comments, obviously, on the minister's conversation with you guys and with the last caller, obviously.
Sure, go right ahead.
One, I heard Mr. Bryan. I don't know if it was him being in defense of what we all read in the headline saying that they're repealing this particular motion that they had put in about the work permits being advertised. I think he mentioned that that it hasn't been repealed, that they're looking at it because some new information came in.
Mm-hmm.
What was very interesting in what he said in regards to that new information, it sounded like, based on what he said, is that they have gotten some pushback from the small businesses in regards to how it will affect them.
Oh, well, whether or not the businesses were small, we're not sure.
Well, that's what I said. Well, true. And then we also heard the last caller allude to the fact that it will be affecting small businesses as well.
Yeah.
But what I will say to this is that, in the light of all of this conversation about what this bill would have done and what impact it would have had, no one has stopped except for you, Mr. Connor. I heard you said something in regards to the workforce. No one has stopped and said, oh well, it's not only the businesses we should be focused on. We should also be looking at the people who are trying to get a job, right? Who are Caymanians, who could very well, as you mentioned earlier, could be working in these positions. But if a person is given that foot and a half in the door and become comfortable, even if it's 3 months or 6 months, and the employer is saying, hey, I'd rather stick with this person because I know what I'm getting, as opposed to venturing out into the Caymanian work field and not know what I'm getting, right? So I find it very, very interesting that some people within the business community, I'm not saying all, is taking the position that, oh well, we need to focus only on how this affects businesses, right? And we've seen and we all know, and to that last caller's point and to what he said, and I don't disagree in regards to some people are floating around here with no work, with a work permit, looking a job in other areas. We've seen it. I've seen it. I've been around here long enough, Mr. Connor. You worked with immigration. You were the chief. I used to work there for a short period, so we've seen it. And I worked in enforcement for a couple of months, and believe me, we arrested a lot of people that were sitting on the curb.
Yep.
Right. That's a fact. So that element does exist in our labor. It's a fact. Now, secondly, the other thing that Mr. Bryan was saying about collective responsibility. So if they all had the collective responsibility to support that motion brought by Mr. Saunders, then you telling me that they all collectively supported it, and now they all collectively is thinking about repealing it?
And why did it happen after he left?
That's right. And the thing is, Mr. Connor and Mr. Maxfield, the reality is that the newspaper and all the news outlets didn't say that they are thinking about or renegotiating it. It said repeal. Repeal means they are removing it. Right? And that's the interpretation that we got. So whether the paper or the media houses got it wrong, I don't know, but we haven't heard anybody from government address it other than Mr. Bryant this morning when you guys brought it up on your show. So yeah, the people is not properly informed if in fact what Mr. Bryan is saying is true. And then the last thing, and that I want to say, because I don't want to stay on all morning, the situation that the last caller talked about in regards to the trying to figure out how, if a person paying a pension or the insurance by cash, listen, some people use cash. That's just a fact. And yes, there are some red flags when you have those elements and those loopholes that you can jump through. But you do have some people who rather use cash to pay all of their bills. I know one thing for sure, I don't have a checkbook and I don't have no online banking. If I need to go to the bank, I go in. Now maybe I may sound old fashioned, but That's just who I am. I don't have a problem. I like the activity of going to the bank. I don't like sitting down, doing nothing on my phone and transferring it. I personally don't like it. So we have those people who like to do those things. So they shouldn't be alienated or gated out or guarded or marginalized and say, oh, well, if it's not doing it online, you can't do it at all. So, but yes, we need to do something to deal with that. And then last now, the situation with the sand on the beach. Now, I know I can tell you guys this without any fear of contradiction, right? There was a study just done, Mr. Connor and Mr. Macfield. There was a study just done where there's a, and Mr. Macfield and Mr. Connor, you all may know this better than me because you're older than I am. There's a sand chute off of Pageant Beach where sand comes down and then it goes off that chute and goes over the drop-off, right? That's a fact. Divers have video footage of it actually happening. I've seen it. Now, there was a study just done within the last year and a half that has found a shelf 1 mile down, approximately 1 mile down the drop-off, that has miles and miles and about 10, 20, 30 feet high of our indigenous sand that has gone off of that shelf but can't wash back up.
I've heard about that, yep.
The report is there. The study was done. It is real. I've seen it. And the next thing is, to the caller's point, the last caller's point, and Mr. Macfield said it, everybody's been saying this for years, that sand is indigenous to us, so no need in importing sand. We can pump that back up, but no sense of pumping it up if we don't remove the cause of the sand being washed off.
Yes.
Which is the sea walls that are built too close to the water and the buildings that are built too close to the water. Now, Mr. Macfield, you're the lawyer in the room. I know that the high water mark, when the government changed it from being vegetation to where the surf comes in, right, the wave.
1983.
All right. So the interpretation of that, I mean, and now correct me if I'm wrong, if you're telling me now that we have a surge that is hitting a wall, that means that wall is public access, because that's a high water mark. Because the wall is no longer on the beach sitting comfortably away from the high water mark in between. So can we interpret that, okay, this wall is now an obstruction to the high water mark, so therefore the government should have the legal right to have it removed?
Sure, because it's now part of the Queen's Bottom.
Thank you so much. That's what I was getting at. Now,
King's now.
The King's Bottom now. The King's Bottom. Sorry, yes.
Yeah. Let's not insult the crown.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm saying to myself, okay, during this period of these high water marks are now being currently washed within the parameters in which we have authority to remove, then to that last caller's point, then we need to enact some sort of law to say, hey, look, here is the hindrances of the natural sand flow due to sea surge, and we need to remove them. Now that this property is in Crown's Bottom, we have all authority to do so. And I know there's going to be some legal issues, but these are the sort of things that we need, as you mentioned, Mr. Connor, you mentioned, Mr. Macfield, and as the last caller mentioned, these are just the prices we're going to have to pay to actually get the right thing done. Because putting sand back on that beach is going to be the most oxymoronic thing we've ever done in our entire life.
Yep.
Well, caller, look and see if they don't put up the argument that, well, it's our responsibility because your planning department gave us permission to do so. Look and see if that's not the argument.
Caller?
That would. Yep. All right, guys.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, what I would say to you, Mr. Macfield, in regards to that, is that you're absolutely right. But what we also have to look at and what we have to take into consideration, what is in the best interest of the Cayman Islands environment and its people, and if it's in the best interest, it's worth fighting for. So whatever legal issues, because that $21 million that they're spending for sand, we can use that to pay for lawyers.
Good point.
And
Thank you.
And there's something in the Constitution that says the P.O. Power. You know what that is?
No.
The peace, order, and good governance of the Cayman Islands.
Yep.
All right. There you go.
Thank you very much, caller, for that.
Thank you.
We do have another caller, but I just want to, since we're on this topic, again, to share with you the press release that was issued on the 31st of March in relation to the requirements to advertise jobs before submitting temporary work permits repealed by Cabinet. Repealed, it says on here, right? The campaign launched by Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman Work last month, announcing that advertising on Jobs Cayman would soon be required before submitting temporary work permit applications has been repealed. And I gave you the definition of repeal. It means same thing, revoked, right? And the requirements scheduled to come into effect today no longer stands. Here's a caveat to it, though. Until further notice. So we must give credit to the fact that they said until further notice. And I said until further notice, maybe when hell freeze is over. Yes, hasn't given anything on it. But there is still that obvious contradiction there that it has been repealed. And I would imagine that if it has been repealed, then more than likely it is going to be replaced by something else. I can only make that assumption. Now, we heard Minister Bryan explain to us exactly what took place, but there are some coincidences along that journey that he spoke about. We know former Deputy Premier and Minister Saunders was quite passionate, about the whole issue of employing Caymanians and whether or not the whole work permit process was fair to Caymanians. Also had concerns about the permanent residency program as well. We have heard now that this was an overall cabinet or PAC policy and agreement, that they all shared all of those sentiments. If that were the case, and I have no reason to doubt that, when this policy was first introduced and broached in relation to the requirement of temporary work permits, we can assume that everyone agreed to it. Did they at that point in time ask, well, have we sought feedback from the business community, from the public, as well as the Caymanians who may be impacted by this, the unemployed Caymanians or the underemployed Caymanians? Have we contacted them? Something just does not sit right with the timing of this coming out, the timing of Mr. Saunders' departure from cabinet, and now hearing the fact that we have heard from some persons who had concern about it. That system that Minister Bryan spoke about in terms of everyone agreeing, I don't get that with this particular item here. I just don't get that with it. Because what he's saying is, we agreed, but after Minister Saunders left, we disagreed. So this is what we've done now. That's my take. Yours, Doc?
That's my case too, and I have to be careful here.
Yes,
because it does, but that's not my remit. I'm chairman of the Permanent Residence and Status Board. That's not my remit. So I'm speaking now personally as another person, Caymanian person, that a temporary work permit, the word temporary, a temporary work permit means for a temporary purpose. A temporary work permit doesn't mean that you get it temporary to enlarge it into a full permit. That's not what it means. And I'm glad that the minister agrees with me that a temporary work permit should only be for a temporary purpose. Because if that is not so, the whole system then has no credibility.
Okay. Paul, we're going to take that commercial break. Do we have any callers on hold? No callers? Okay, that sounds fine for now. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Doing a kitchen renovation? At Granite Express Cayman, we can help you with fresh new kitchen cabinets and countertops in less than 4 weeks. When designing your dream kitchen, it's important to balance timeless features that reflect your personality and design aesthetic. Granite Express Cayman is offering a great package rate for custom-built cabinets, kitchen respray, and kitchen countertops with granite and quartz stone. Call 922-0424 for a free estimate. Granite Express Cayman. Friendly service and fast installation. Hurry! Offers valid while supplies last. Visit graniteexpresscayman.com.
Enjoy a magical night of art and culture at Red Sky at Night, multidisciplinary arts fair at the Hockwell Cultural Center, Saturday 15th April from 2 to 11 p.m. With 4 stages of live music, dance, poetry, and theater performances, over 100 artists and artisans, creative kids corner, delicious food, Caymanian village with traditional demonstrations and fireworks. There is so much to see and do at Red Sky at Night. Brought to you by the Cayman National Cultural Foundation. Early bird tickets are $15 and $25 at Funky Tanks locations, the CNCF office, or online at www.ticketsplus.ky. Gates open at 1:30 p.m.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We do have a caller. I just want to give a birthday shout out here that we have just received. And we want to give a birthday shout out for Miss Angeline Murillo, who will celebrate her birthday tomorrow, Thursday, the 6th of April. So, Miss Murillo, we wish you a happy birthday when it comes tomorrow as well. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Dr. Steve. Good morning, OC.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Mr. Yes, heavy discussion this morning. I've really been following the discussion regarding the system of government and the discussion with Honorable Brian and the last caller who called as well.
Okay.
You see, first of all, let me begin on a point of agreeing with both of you regarding the announcement about work permits. Now, I have no reason to suspect that what Minister Brian said was incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
No. But there are, for those of us who are not in cabinet, we have to rely on certain appearances and express our views. To me, it seems odd, first of all, as you pointed out, that this was only reversed after Minister Saunders departed. But also, if you go back a few months ago, when Minister Saunders made a statement to say, look, for those of you businesses which who appear not to be supporting Caymanians, we will scrutinize your work permits more carefully.
Mm-hmm.
He said that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think a couple of weeks later, the Premier said, well, yes, I think we've been a little bit too strict on some of the work permits. Maybe we have not gotten the balance right. In my suspicion, they were not agreeing on the point. I don't think they were agreeing on the point. That's why when this work permit thing happened, they said, oh, but you see, we've just put it on suspension. My suspicion remains as yours does, because I don't see how they could have made a drastic decision like that and then make it soon thereafter, and then they say, oh, it's been repealed. Repealed, as you rightly pointed out today and also the last show, repeal means that it's gone.
Yep.
Or if it is gone, something is going to come in immediately, straight away. But to me, this is a sign of what I experienced myself working in government. A policy is announced, and after it is announced, very often somebody from the private sector, a powerful person, calls somebody in government and says, well, this is not suiting us, and suddenly the whole decision is unmade. And in my view, if you, without having the intimate knowledge, my suspicion is that something like that would have happened.
because you see, there are sometimes. Look, when I worked in government, we would, for example, go to Parliament, right? And we are waiting for a committee stage amendment to a bill to be moved.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got ministers who are speaking to people in the private sector about what you should put in, what you shouldn't put in, and so on. At that point, really, cabinet should have made up their mind what they want to put in and hold on to that policy. And yet, it was very common for people in the private sector to continue influencing government ministers, even when they are in the House. Now, in the UK, the way it is done is that once a bill, for example, goes to the House and it is presented in that form, it's very difficult to change it, even to move a committee stage amendment. You would normally require to either go back to what is called the Parliamentary Business and Legislation Committee, which is in charge of the whole legislative program, or go back to the relevant policy committee of cabinet. Why? Because that's the way it's done. But in Cayman, I find there's too much accountability to the private sector.
And Billy, that is one. I don't know if you listened to the show at its inception this morning, but we wanted to talk about campaign financing because that is so extremely important. And in this particular instance, that any declarations may have been quite instructive.
Well, yes, I did listen at the beginning that you wanted to talk about that. And all that is part of the broader issue of accountability in government. Some people have suggested, for example, that there should be a way in which you can recall the representatives. But I mean, it's got so many sides. It's got campaign finance is one. It's got the recall of representatives. But the whole system of accountability has to be dealt with. By the way, regarding that same work permit issue, I don't see why the work permit issue was done and undone when in the immigration law, there's still a fundamental problem with Regulation 6. Under Regulation 6, it used to be before that when somebody applied for a work permit, you asked the employer to give you a succession plan. It used to be shall. The chief immigration officer shall require a person to provide a succession plan. And then they changed that to may. Once they changed it to may, basically it was not effective because that is about never asked for. So why don't they deal with these issues instead of dealing with they should deal with the issue of temporary work permits. But to me, why are they going back and forth on that instead of dealing with something even more fundamental? To me, it just shows that there is somebody else there in charge who is not supposed to be in charge. But the
tail is wagging the dog.
Exactly. I sent you some two comments. One of them was that the standards in public life should really have a provision which allows a member of the public to complain against a government minister to say, you have not complied by this, there should be an independent inquiry. They have that in other countries. There is no point having that law if at the end of the day the same ministers are going to judge themselves to say whether or not they complied against with the law or not. And finally, Dr. Steve, the decision last week on right to family life, the one made by the Court of Appeal decision where they say now you can't kick somebody out whether they've been convicted of a criminal offense, whether they have failed to meet the points for the PR application. Even if they are in those categories, you still have to allow them to stay, essentially if they've got a wife and a child. Is that something that you have addressed in your committee, or is that something that you can
Mr. Billy, I haven't read the judgment. I haven't gotten a copy of the judgment. I only read what I saw in the media, but I can tell you this: that the Court of Appeal did not overturn that that provision of the law of the immigration law.
Just said it was incompatible.
It didn't say the immigration law was incompatible. It said that is what the media said. It said that the person had lost the appeal because they did not get the 110 points. But it went on to say just the same thing it did with Same thing they did with the
civil partnership.
Same-sex marriage. Civil law. That the government should find a way to accommodate those people outside of the point system when they have failed to meet the requirements of the point system to stay.
Good point, Doc. Billy,
that's what they said.
Billy, we're going to ask you to leave us there so we can grab another caller. Doc, that is one thing that...
You read the case here. You will take it up another time. I read the case. They have actually gutted the system, but we'll talk another time.
Yes. And I hopefully we can dedicate one show to have Dr. Macfield speak, from a legal standpoint about it, not from his position as the chairman of the PR review system or as the chairman of the Status and Permanent Residential Board. Yes,
thank you.
We have a few callers queued up as well. Let's grab another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Well, I know I'm not going to have little time, as much time.
Yep, in 4 minutes we're going to go to commercial break. Yep.
Yeah, but I'm going to say, all the points that he raised are so valid, but nobody acts on anything in this country that is valid. We focus on the conversation, but never on any actions that should emanate from the conversation. That is the problem of this country. The whole idea of a judge in this country not being held accountable is ridiculous, and it has caused a lot of fraud on the court. And there's evidence, and I have evidence, and other persons have evidence, especially in these foreclosure cases. We never solve any problems because we are the least organized people on the planet. We have no relationships with each other that is based on any type of necessary togetherness. We are not together. The Bible talks all the time about being of one accord, but we are the people who say our identity is a Christian identity, and we do not understand the word one accord. We are always acting against each other's interests, and therefore we cannot go forward. We can only go downwards. And this is the reality. We need to hold the people who have high offices in this country accountable, and we are not capable of doing so, not because the Constitution is not there to give us these types of protection, but because we do not appreciate the fact that in a participatory democracy, we have to be organized, we have to be collective, we have to behave as individuals, yes, but without collective behavior, we have no society. It's ridiculous to say we have a society if people can't agree, even when all of them are being displaced and oppressed and cheated in the courts. We need really seriously to focus on organizing around democratic principles that are progressive and not always going backwards. We have gone backwards with the resignation of Chris Sanders. We have gone backwards in so many ways because the issues, as soon as they're going to be confronted with somebody, sort of disappears simply because that person is going to be pushed out of the system. It's so successful, that particular type of colonial tactics. And we continue to believe that Britain is not complicit in it, but the United Kingdom Foreign Office is complicit, and they must be held responsible. And I'm going to make sure in my publication, Tax Heaven, that they are held accountable. I'm telling you this, it is time that we stand up and take the blows for our freedom. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doc, for that. So before we go to our commercial break, we still have a few callers on hold. Miss Sasha Lee Thomas of Cayman Brack celebrating her birthday today, so we want to wish her a happy birthday. And we're also told that Mr. Bowen, the principal at the Lehman East Scott High School on the Brack, is also celebrating a birthday today. So happy birthday to Principal Mr. Bowen and Sasha Lee Thomas. Folks, we're going to take our last commercial breaks. Paul, how many callers we have? 3 callers on hold. When we return, that's going to give each caller about 2.5 minutes. Please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
I tell you what, I need to find a way to bring my electricity costs down. I don't want to see another high bill next month.
Have you tried doing an energy audit?
A what?
An energy audit. The do-it-yourself energy audits on energy.gov.ky make it easy to find ways to save energy and money in your home or business.
Oh yeah? I'm going to log on to that website right now. What was it again?
Visit energy.gov.ky to download do-it-yourself energy audits for your home or business. There is even a fun activity guide for kids.
Complete an energy audit of your home or business before 31st of May 2023 to be entered into a prize giveaway. Prizes include a $5,000 gift certificate to Home Gas and gift certificates to Cooling Pros, Foam Pros, Costulest, and Foster's.
Visit energy.gov.ky today and follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
The Rotary Central Easter Hunt and Story Time is Saturday, April 8th. Children are about to have a marvelous Easter experience. The Rotary Central Easter Hunt and Story Time at the Rotary Schoolhouse, the Queen Elizabeth II Botanical Park in Frank Sound. 11 a.m. through 12:30 p.m. This exciting Easter event includes Eric the Magician, sing along with Miss Aliyah, face painting by Art for You Limited, refreshments, arts and crafts, prizes, goodie bags, lip smacking pizza, compliments of Domino's Pizza. This is a free Rotary event for children 10 years and under who must be accompanied by adults. Yes, Saturday, April 8th at the Botanical Park. Easter fun comes alive. Rotary, all the good you imagine.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the people's station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're in the last leg of the show. We have 3 callers in hold, 2.5 minutes for each. Very quickly, one of our listeners, in regards to Minister Bryan's call, said Kenneth is making great points on how the public sees it and how it appears to work in the real world, the party system. He is on point. Correct that it is discipline and respect that is required as well. And I want to thank that listener for sharing their sentiments with us as well. Let's go to the 3 callers. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, question. I hear you all talk about the sand on the beach. I will pray that they don't import sand on that beach. It will not stay there. Okay, that's all I have to say about that one right now. Now, in reference to the temporary work permit, do you guys know how many businesses on this island and why we have so much businesses here that need those work permits? And another thing, you need to find out how many businesses are here. This is what runs this country. This is the engine of this country, is the businesses. And to cut out the temporary work permit would be doing a disservice to the business that we beg.
No one is suggesting that they cut out temporary work permits, caller. No one is suggesting that.
Let me correct that. Yes, I understand. It was to advertise on work.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, right now this week work has problems. the site had the problem.
Yeah.
They advertised that on the radio.
It has been resolved.
Well, see, the reason why I say that is because I hear a lot of Caymanians disagreeing with work permits in general because they don't understand the country. They don't understand what's happening in the country. They don't understand their own country. Now, it's too much hostility among foreigners coming in here to work. And these foreigners come in here because most of the Caymanians don't want the jobs. And when we speak of certain industries, people are taking away jobs from certain people in the industry. That's not true. I'm in the construction. I've been there 49 years. And I cannot get one Caymanian to work for me. So when we talk about, let's try to cut back work permit holders and this and that, we need to check out the industry that we're talking about.
Okay.
So I think government needs to stop blanketing all of the industries under one policy and law. They need to separate them and deal with them individually.
Got you.
And I think what is the shortest here, I know you're waiting for time.
Yeah.
We need unions. These businesses need their own unions. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gone.
Okay.
Have a good day, guys. Bye.
Some would say that the businesses already have their union, which is the Chamber of Commerce. Let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Good morning to the doc.
Good morning.
Yeah. Concerning the temporary work permit, which I spoke about on the last show, and the minister coming on and explaining the reason why I still in the dark about that, because that's still wishy-washy, using local terms on that. And the caller that just left, talking about temporary. Didn't he heard Mr. McField explain that temporarily work permit is for temporary jobs? I want him to go around and try and find out how many people here on this island that have temporary work permits that don't have no work. I wonder if you know anything about that.
Mm.
So, and another thing, the doc mentioned what the judgment or suggestion was from the court.
Mm-hmm.
So the court can make a statement like that. That's almost bypassing the point system. So what's the purpose of having the point system when we can go to the court and get around it? Because they're saying the government should find an alternative or for those people, even though they don't meet the requirement of the point system.
The court didn't say
having the point system.
The court did say that the point system was wrong and it was against the Bill of Rights. The courts upheld the fact that the person, the applicant before the court did not meet the 110 point requirements to enable him to be able to. But the court then went on to say
we should find another way.
We should find another way to accommodate those people who do not meet the point system. And the courts were saying because there are sometimes circumstances in which there are circumstances in which
I don't make it.
Yeah, but the court says there are circumstances in which
another way, and that's what happened now. We're finding another way to accommodate all these people, and we find another way to put them on the road when they don't know nothing about driving.
And there are always exceptional circumstances,
yes.
But the exceptions should not become the rule. Caller, we're going to ask you to leave us there. We can talk some more later on. I just want to grab this call in and give Dr. Steve an opportunity for some closing comments. And everybody's saying that they want to hear about campaign finance, and so we're going to have we'll choose a show where we'll talk about campaign financing, and we'll talk about the Court of Appeal ruling as well. Last caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir.
I trust that you guys are doing okay and in good health.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you. I won't say a lot because I know time is not on my side. But it really baffles me to see the present situation that we're facing in this island. Everything is like in haywire. Everything is about the almighty dollar. Money. Huh? Why are we destroying this island? Everywhere you look, all you can see is upheaval and properties and all kind of business. We bit off more or allowed to bite off more than we can chew. This needs to slow down the little island because it's going to wind up in a very undesirable situation that we're in. Now, I just want to say about the points. Come on, let's be realistic. That should have never been, in my opinion, because I know and realize that some of the biggest undesirables can come here and play the dead Jesus until they get those points, and then what are you going to do? It should have been like things like we talk about the district council that has more teeth in say into this island, not just a handful of know-alls think that they can do it and literally continue to destroy this island that's where it's going. Gentlemen like the Dr. McPhail, why is that gentleman not given a key position into this island, especially in the judicial system? Okay? You got people that been domestic helpers and domestic workers. Now in your judicial system, how they get there so quick? Gentlemen, I say no more. Have a good day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller. Just want to say something very quickly in relation to the to election expenses. And the first part of the legislation talks about appointing an election agent who basically stands in place of the candidate in the event that the candidate is unable to attend certain things and take certain responsibilities. But here's where one of the flaws in our election system is, right? Section 67, subsection 2 reads, the maximum amount of election expenses to be incurred in respect of a candidate at an election shall be where the candidate does not belong to a political party or there is no other candidate belonging to the same party at an election in an electoral district, $35,000. And where the candidate is not the only candidate belonging to a party at the election in an electoral district, $30,000. But what the problem is, the operative word here to say, maximum amount of election expenses that can be incurred. Incurred is the word. It doesn't say how much you can collect. All you can collect 100,000, 200,000, but you can only incur $35,000 or $30,000 if you're in a party on it. That is where the flaw. That is where the big flaw is. We need to talk about not only what has been incurred, but what you can collect by virtue of donations or contributions. Doc, last word goes to you.
Oh, I had drafted something. I don't know if I have time to do it.
We'll try.
How many of how many of this generation know about Cornwell Watler, a man from the humble beginnings of Gun Bay, who came to Georgetown and built 3 magnificent ships, the Gold Medal, the Klondike, and the Gold Field? How many of them how many of them who now are forming associations to challenge our right to protect our interests know about that awful Mosquito Key tragedy in 1941 that took lives of so many of our men and boys trying to earn enough to afford cornbread, flour, rice, lard, and sardines? You see, Cayman is not only about KFC, Burger King, and CUC. How many of our guests who seek the right to live and to work and remain in the island know about how it is that we can all now in the financial in the position for so many of them to transfer money to their various countries of birth. We survive here in this land fighting the mosquitoes with fire pots, flit guns, and cow dung. We survive from the allotment that our men and boys transfer here to us. We survive from the pittance that we earn from twisting the thatch rope, selling it abroad to catch a few shillings. Cayman is not all about RBC, Butterfield, and CNB. It is also about the catboat sailing from West Bay to Georgetown with people, mostly women and children, to cut tops, to twist the strand. Hawkseye Bay, Bar Bay, Hogside Bay, Bar Bay, Whitehall Bay, Bosun Bay, Borden Bay, lower end of the bay, the Windward, the Leeward, all those names mean something to us. The names carry significant historical importance. Cayman is not all about Cayman Bay. My generation know of Sports Bay, also and of Pedro Bluff. Now this land that was first occupied by our ancestors, that was once too unimportant to be legally recognized as the dependency of Jamaica or as belonging to Great Britain, has become a center of the financial world. But the Caymanian contribution to that world status now seems to be causing friction and vitriol. So I pose this question. How many of us do care who we really are and are willing and able to protect and defend our history, inheritance, our identity and self-respect? And as a great professor once said, man always has the choice, and in the absence of vision and the implementation thereof, which gives rise to risk, the freedom of man can become a mere hope without action.
Okay, folks, I want to thank you all for listening in, all of those who participated as well. We're coming upon the Easter weekend. We're imploring everyone to please stay safe, take all of the necessary safety precautions. If you're near the water, either a swimming pool or at the beach, ensure that our youngsters are all accounted for, that they're all being watched. We want everyone to stay safe. For the record, won't be back on until next week, Wednesday. But if you are interested, tomorrow morning at 6:30 Cayman time, I will be on Antigua and Barbuda's Observer Radio, doing a talk show there, talking about human trafficking. For those of you who may not be aware of it, just a few weeks ago, possibly last week, we had a boat capsize over there, and several lives were lost as a result of human trafficking as well. So I will be on there. So that will be the place that if you want to hear me tomorrow morning. Not trying to take anything away from Radio Cayman. But those of you who will be out there during the Easter, we ask you to please, please, please be safe. Have a blessed day. Remember to listen to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy. Taking care of your health. And JN Money. From abroad to yard. Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066. And the Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency. Visit energy.gov.ky or follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook